quick question. When you think about electric cars, what comes to your mind? Maybe Tesla, BYD, maybe some fancy European brand. Now imagine this. For a while, Uganda has actually been building its own EV brand from the ground up. This is the story about Kiira Motors, arguably Africa's most ambitious EV project that you've probably never heard about, and how it's going to completely change public transport forever. Let's just say this isn't your average government project. So this is where it all begins, from a university in Uganda known as Makerere University. Think about this, university students were actually building EVs even long before they started actually trending on the internet. Now this particular project from Makerere University caught the government's attention, and that's how Kiira Motors was born. And the goal was to build electric and hybrid vehicles made in Uganda by Ugandans for Ugandans. Simple as that. Now the first prototype was the Kiira EV, and then came along the Kayola solar bus, and now the Kayola EVs, which is a full-on electric bus with a capacity of up to 90 passengers. That's quite impressive. Now this company doesn't only assemble these vehicles, because these vehicles are partly made with Ugandan materials. For example, most of the floors of these buses are made using bamboo, which is actually got from here in Uganda. Now all this is enabling them to do something which is eco-friendly and stylish all at the same time. Now this isn't a concept anymore, by the way, because right now Kiira Motors has a 100-acre production facility with the capacity to manufacture up to 2,500 electric buses per year. And they are actually already manufacturing electric and clean diesel buses, with plans to fully transition to electric within the decade. Now some of these buses are even actually already in service. You can find some of them at Entebbe Airport, even within the Civil Aviation Authority. Most of these buses have already been commissioned, and they are actually already working. And get this, countries like Tanzania, Nigeria, Eswatini have also actually already placed orders for these buses from Kiira Motors. So with the way things are looking, Uganda may actually end up becoming a regional EV exporter in Africa. But now you have to note this, Kiira buses are going to cost a little bit more upfront, but in the long run, they are going to actually prove to be cheaper, because you're going to have way less maintenance costs, no oil changes, and we can all agree that using electricity is way cheaper than diesel, based on the cost of 1 unit of power in Uganda. Also not forgetting that some of these buses actually use solar, and that's exactly why this project matters, because it's not all about, building cool, stylish buses. It's about saving billions on fuel imports, reducing carbon emissions, and creating thousands of local jobs to the Ugandan population. But now, just as every big dream, it's not going to be a smooth journey for Kiira Motors to actually achieve that status as the leading regional EV exporter in Africa. Because first of all, EVs are still quite expensive to build, given that most of the materials are still being imported by Kiira Motors. For example, the batteries and other electric components which are not manufactured locally in Uganda. And then also talk about the infrastructure. We don't exactly have charging stations in many places in Uganda. They are quite limited. So it's going to take a really long while for these buses to actually be fully integrated into Uganda's transportation system. Also not forgetting the power reliability issues which we actually have in Uganda. The constant load shedding in Uganda. So if power is to really go off mid-charge, you're not going to be going anywhere with your bus, at least not until the power comes back. But the good news is that all these are fixable problems, and the government is actually already offering incentives for all EV manufacturers. And we also have universities in Uganda like Makerere, Chambogo, which are actually training high quality electrical engineers who can come and fix some of the issues, such as manufacturing the electrical components and all that. So yeah, the future is promising, but it's going to take serious consistency and funding actually to keep this momentum alive. So now Kiira's goal is pretty clear. By 2030, Uganda wants all public transport to be fully electric. That means more electric buses, maybe even more electric taxis, more electric borders. If you're Ugandan, you know what borders mean. Actually, we are already having many companies which are offering electric borders, and they're actually starting to become common on Ugandan streets. So the dream doesn't seem so impossible to achieve by 2030. And if all this works out, then we could see Uganda becoming East Africa's EV powerhouse. And the most exciting part is seeing something like this being built locally right before your eyes is actually very inspiring, That shows you that maybe we don't have to always wait for Silicon Valley or these European companies to come and give us the solutions that we need as a country or as Africa as a whole. So you can let us know in the comment section, do you really think Uganda can pull this off by 2030? Or is this just another dream which is also going to fade away with time? Now, if you found this video particularly interesting, feel free to hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, where I will be looking more into the future of African tech and how far it can actually get.